together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
Hello, I'm Mike Barry.
And I'm Bob Bluffield.
And together with Alan Mullion, we bring you The Grumpy Old Men on Saturday morning between 8 and 10. We take a look back at what's been happening during the week and let's just say discuss it.
Oh yes, we do play some good music as well. That's all here every Saturday morning between 8 and 10 on Seclo Sounds.
You can make comments about the show at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Still to come, the travel news, but we're back with Jeremy now. And when I was a travel agent, I was pricing up trips to the Far East, and one country was coming up really cheap, and that was Vietnam. And some of the quality of the hotels and the prices that were being charged, it was just unbelievable. It looked a great place to visit. Somewhere I haven't gone yet, it's still on my list. As you know, I have a very long bucket list. It's almost 200 countries long, but one day, you never know, I could be the lottery winner. But Vietnam, obviously a country the Mercator Travel take people to, and now Jeremy's going to talk to us about Vietnam and what types of holidays that they offer there.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a mixture of natural beauty, local culture, history, temples, fantastic cuisine, and probably some of the best beaches in Southeast Asia are there, and less developed and less kind of, if you like, spoilt, inverted commas, than some of the, perhaps Thailand, which would be perceived probably as the mainstream beach holiday area in the region. In terms of what would be a good introduction to the country, I would say if you flew into Hanoi and spent some time in the major city there, and then travelled north to an area called Sapa, which is an amazing area of lots of rice paddies terraced down the most dramatic mountains with beautiful forests and waterfalls, where the Sapa Hill people live. You can go there for 3 or 4. You can combine that. You can go up market in hotel, or you can stay in villages in homestays in people's houses, or you can camp. There's a number of ways of cracking that nut. Mm-hmm. And then move down to Halong Bay, which is these dramatic limestone cliff bays, a bit like travelling on an old-fashioned willow pattern plate, again with beautiful scenery. Then go to Ho Chi Minh City, which is offers both the contemporary history of the Vietnam War, and used to be called Saigon, and you've got the famous Viet Cong tunnels, which you can go and see and hear about from their perspective the history of the Vietnam War. So as well as the ancient temples and ruins, and then you've got marvelous food in that region as well, and then finish perhaps on Phu Quoc Island and have some beach stays. So again, you can sort of combine the tourism and the activity with some time on the beach at the end. So again, it's it suits holidays. It's for families, or the intrepid adventurous traveller. It can really be all things to all men.
Well, I think we're moving further north now, but I've always been bad at geography. But Tibet, I imagine it's not easy to get there either, so how do you get to Tibet from the UK?
Yeah, Tibet's one of the kind of key long-haul, kind of for the more adventurous traveller. So it's an Asian destination outside of that kind of Southeast Asian archipelago, as you say, more to the north. And it's two options really to get there. There's no direct option. It's either you would go via Shanghai in China. So you might want to combine a holiday touring and seeing some parts of China and then doing a side trip to Tibet. Or there's regional Chinese airports like Kunming that can get you there. But the other option is, and perhaps a bit poignant in this week, whilst the earthquake has just struck, is via Kathmandu, and possibly a more popular thing to do, but would be to combine current circumstances allowing,
Mm-hmm.
a trip to Nepal and Tibet, which border each other and share many similar cultures. And that to me would be, if God willing, we can get through this terrible earthquake period and Nepal, rises again,
Mm-hmm.
then you would want to combine a trip to Nepal with Tibet. But that aside, then you would go in via China.
Well-
They're the ways in.
What about the altitude of Tibet? Does that cause a problem to visitors?
It can do. My advice would be is to arrive gently. That's why it's a good thing to do, is to possibly go to somewhere like Kathmandu first, where you're not up in the mountains, but you're in one of the valleys, or if you're in China, and then gradually work your way up. And then when you arrive, don't drink lots of alcohol, drink lots of water, and take things gently for the first couple of days until you acclimatise, and gradually, and if there's side trips which are, you're going up to the peak of a mountain or something, then, you do that on day 4 or day 5. There will be some people, there is no release to altitude sickness. If it hits you, it hits you, and the idea is that you need to come down.
Mm-hmm.
And however, if there are things to do at the greatest peaks. You don't have to trek to the base camp of Everest. You can still, walk along the foothills and see the dramatic scenery. And you can be okay, but generally, if people push themselves and they go up, the only way to cure altitude sickness is to come back down.
You mentioned walking, and a lot of people will be looking at the mountains, but is there anything else you can do there?
I mean, the key kind of the trips, it is really a thing to do with natural beauty and trekking and climbing. If you're not an outdoorsy type, Lhasa, which is the centre, which has got the most stunning monasteries and temples, and is worth going to, but they're perched on the side of a mountain. And there's a number of festivals. There's tremendous nature, interesting bird life. In some cases, it's mountain specific.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a photographer, it's good. You've got these indigenous people, but really, this is a destination which is all about the great outdoors, mountain scenery, ruggedness, and an interesting mountain indigenous people. But yeah, for sure, you want to be interested in those indigenous culture and people and their way of life. But you're not going to want to go there unless you're going to get turned on by the fact that you're in the most dramatic, highest place in the world, basically.
Rockers, join me, Colin,
And me, Andy.
for Roadie Rocks.
Fridays at 8 p.m. on Seclo Sounds, bringing you the very best in classic rock, stories from the road, and special guests.
You can join in by following us on Twitter at Roadie Rocks MK.
Roadie Rocks, Fridays at 8 p.m. only on Seclo Sounds.
Keep up to date with travel news by liking my page, facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Still to come, travel news and the country where you should travel to with cash in your pocket instead of using your cards. We're still talking to Jeremy from Mercator Travel. We've covered a few countries so far during the show. I'm now going to ask for a general view of the other sort of Far East trips that Mercator Travel offer.
Sure. I mean, we're a tailor-made operation, so no one holiday we sell is the same as another. I think if you were going to be looking for a flop and drop holiday where basically you want to go to an exotic beach destination, you're better off either just booking direct on the web or going to a mainstream tour operator. We're for the people who are interested in, they want a bit of flop and drop, but they really want to get under the skin of the country and explore a bit more. But we can serve really pretty much every country. So the core area, the mother country, if you like, of the region you might think of, and a jumping off point for the first visitor probably may well be Thailand, and then which would offer the hill tribes in the north, the palaces and temples and markets of Bangkok, and then the beach. However, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, those three of the Indochina region are definitely there. But then we also serve Malaysia and Borneo, which are great for wildlife and rainforest. Singapore for its small city state, and the Philippines. Aside from Southeast Asia, you may well be interested in Sri Lanka or India and all of these places. So we cover everywhere, but I guess the most popular is Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, and the emerging destination, which kind of for the last 2 years, seems to be very popular, is Myanmar and Burma.
If somebody was to come to you and they've been to Thailand loads of times and they're bored of the place now, which country would you recommend they go to?
I think possibly the first port of call, and if you weren't to look into branch out a little bit, and if you didn't want to be doing too much touring where you're going to take in a multi-country tour, then I might say Cambodia. Mm-hmm. You've got Siem Reap and the most famous kind of possibly iconic temple site in the world of Angkor Wat. You've got Phnom Penh, the capital of palaces and temples, and it's also got the contemporary history of the sad recent crime of Rouge and genocide, and the museums and things there. So if your stomach can take it, you've got an interesting kind of side issue to some of the history. You've got the colonial area, and then there's great beaches at Saigonville. So you've got a nice mix there where you could do a week's worth of touring, culture, sightseeing, and then a week on the beach and combine that. So I would say probably the answer to the question in that case would be Cambodia.
Okay.
Seklo Sounds is based at the Old Rectory, the home of our studio partner Interaction MK. They've been bringing arts to life in Milton Keynes for over 35 years. They use the arts to improve the life chances of disabled people and others in challenging circumstances through shared creative activity. These programs help participants to develop creative, personal and social skills. You can visit them at www.interactionmk.org.uk.
This week I've been speaking to Jeremy Snelling from Mercator Travel. Been talking about the trips that the company offered to the Far East. And my next question to him was going to be more about the company, but I had a lot of trouble pronouncing Mercator, as you're going to find out by listening to his answer.
We say Mercator, but plenty of people ring us up and call us Mercator, so you're not alone in the name pronunciation. Mercator Travel is a small independent tour operator, owned by myself and my partner, and with a small team in supporting us. We are basically people with travel in our blood, born abroad, travelled abroad, studied abroad, and we come from a corporate background of publishing and media. And then reinvented ourselves a few years back where just wanted a life change and set up a business where we could exercise our passion. And so we basically build tailor-made trips. We drive people to our website and look for an engagement with them. And it's really about, are you budget? Are you mid-range? Are you high-end? Are you going for a short time, a long time? Do you want wildlife? Do you want culture? Do you want beach? Do you want mix or match? And building a trip specifically to your own direct requirements, but with the backup of knowing that you've got an atoll protected, ABTA regulated tour operator, somebody who's going to make sure that where you're staying is going to be reliable and health and safety point of view if you're doing things like whitewater rafting. And, someone who can, because you're going to be there for a short time and there's a lot to see, you can take you to the highlights. But if you're the kind of, I want the off the beaten track thing and I don't want to go where all the crowds go, what's a little different? We've got destination expertise because we work with local expert in-country partners to support us. But we've also travelled to these places ourselves. So we know them, and we go and we send our staff on fam trips so that we inspect these hotels, and our local partners don't sell us anything that they don't stay in themselves. So it's really it's a small independent company really aimed at the niche, tailor-made operation, very customer driven. Yeah, the history and roots of our company was that my partner who set the company up went on an adult gap year to learn Spanish. She was a linguist academically and wanted to add another string to her bow and learn Spanish.